Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Marla Roberts joining us here again, our professional of the year. Excited to have her here on the podcast and the Zoomcast today. She's the owner and interior designer at Kissing Tree Properties from West Fork, Arkansas. Welcome back to the show today. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for having me back.
Well, pleasure
It's
to
nice to
have
be
you
here.
here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is you do for new time listeners and viewers out there.
Sure. So I live in Northwest Arkansas, and I live actually in a very small town just outside of the Fayetteville, Arkansas area. It's called West Fork. So that's where my offices are. But I do work all of Northwest Arkansas. I have a company that does new builds, remodels, refurbishes of homes, and interior design. I'm also a real estate agent with Simplicity Real Estate Solutions up here, which is a boutique real estate company, and I love doing that as well. So well-rounded in the world of real estate.
I know that's what makes you so unique. I love it. KissingTreeProperties.com. That's how we can find you, right?
Yes. Or I can be found on house.com under their pro section, which is Kissing Tree Properties LLC. You'll find it that way. But yes, my website is kissingtreeproperties.com. I can also be found, you can call me at 479-790-9923. If you want to discuss your project, or you can text me and we can schedule some time to talk about what it is you want to do, the thing that's going to make your home yours.
Oh,
That's
okay.
always the goal.
Oh my goodness. Let me ask you, hold on. You've been doing this now since what, 2000, was it 17?
2017, I started with flipping houses, and it was always a passion of mine to do something in real estate. And I had the opportunity to break away from my husband's natural wellness chiropractic acupuncture clinic and finally step out and do the things that I have really wanted to do for a very long time. And I loved taking care of people. That was great. This is just kind of taps into that artistic part of me that allows me to think sometimes outside the box or help somebody else do the same and take something that is tired and worn out and kind of sad, and make it look beautiful again. And that's why I started with flipping, because it was fun to take something rather than tearing it down and make it look beautiful, make it look like a brand new home, but still have that character of something that was built in the 1800s or maybe even the 70s, and going with maybe a mid-century modern kind of feel, or taking that old tired ranch style home that's dark and dreary and tiny little kitchens that almost look like afterthoughts, and turning them into the types of homes that people want today. Something that's more open, where you can entertain, where inside flows to outside, because there are several seasons up here that you can actually be outside and not get carried off by mosquitoes, and, you know, be able to enjoy the beautiful, you know, Ozark Mountains. So that's how it started. And from there, people were like, well, can you do this for me in my house? And I'm like, well, if I can do it for an empty house, certainly I can do it for yours. What do you want? What are you going for? And being able to work with a client that has a general idea and then maybe expand on that idea, take them someplace I hadn't considered before, and also work with the client that goes, I don't know what I want, but I don't want this. How can I take this and make it something else? And I love a client like that who actually lets me do my job. You know, I think most designers want to be able to do their job. That's why a client calls us. You know, we are a service to make those people's lives function better and look beautiful. And, you know, I know it's not for everybody, and it's kind of a luxury type of service that we provide. But if you want a home that functions well, that you can be proud of, that you look at and go, yes, every time you walk into a bathroom or a living room or the kitchen or the kids' rooms, and go, oh, you know, and it kind of puts your heart at ease and makes your tummy feel good. To me, that is doing my job. And I love to be able to do that for clients. So that's kind
Beautiful.
of fun. And then of course the new builds are
Ooh.
my ability to do what I want to do without
Yeah.
input from anybody else. And that kind of gives me the freedom to do my style, which is very contemporary. I like clean lines. I like high ceilings, lots of windows, mixtures of woods and metals and things that are interesting, lots of textures, things you can touch, things you can feel, and also um, big kitchens, big islands, big pantries. I love a good sized pantry. And, I grew up with like no pantries for years. And I love to be able to put a big pantry in a house where you can hide all your stuff. You don't have to have things sitting out on the counter, including that microwave, which everybody wants, but they're just ugly. Do you put it in the island? You want to bend over for the rest of your life, putting things in and out of a microwave. Don't want it over your stove. That's really ugly. Sitting on the
Totally. That's I
counter.
have it that
Yeah.
way. I hate that. I hate it.
Well, and a lot of houses do because it's the only place you can put it. So what I do is when we build our pantries, I build a microwave / coffee station.
Oh,
Big enough for your microwave, big enough for your coffee maker and all of your stuff, or your blender if you want a smoothie station. And then when you're done, you can close the door. Or you build it into a pantry and open it, microwave, close the door, and you're gone. And you
great
don't see the
idea.
microwave. And I don't even own a microwave. I mean, that comes from my years of being in natural healthcare. We
Yeah.
don't make our food. So for me, I hesitate to provide a space for
Yeah.
something that's not really healthy. But the
True.
bottom line is everybody needs one, everybody wants one. So I have to play with that a little bit. I do have some pictures. I'm hoping
Yes,
I
I
can
want
make
to
this.
see. I know
I'm
you're
not
going to share your screen.
technically
You have
very
permission.
savvy.
Go ahead. This
All
is
right,
exciting.
so I thought I would pull those up and show you some before and afters. And because you've seen the afters, if you've been on my website, you've seen the afters, you've seen the work that we do, but no one ever sees what I get to start with. And you watch a TV show and they do it in an hour.
Yeah.
Some of these projects I've been working on, the first one, there are multiple rooms in the house. We've done the entire downstairs. Today, I'd like to show you the befores of her living room / kitchen area, what was her home office and what we did with that. And then I have another kitchen that we also have some before and afters. So let me see if I can
Sure.
pull that up.
And by the way, we'll just mention again, kissingtreeproperties.com. You could see the amazing work. Oh, here we go. She's sharing that screen.
Okay, so I don't know why there we go. Okay, so this is a client's home that when I walked in, they had just moved in. All she had kept from her previous home was the sofa and the mirror, which you can't really see in this picture. I think there'll be another one you'll be able to see it a little bit better. The floors had been redone, but badly. So I had to bring my crew in to redo the floors that she had paid to have redone. But whoever did them really did not know how to redo hardwood floors. So we did have to redo those. But you can see where her little pup is standing, that was the entrance to the kitchen. And you can see that there's a door kind of off to the side in the kitchen that led out to the backyard, and then a big window, and you can barely see it, that horrible light fixture hanging there, and there's a tray ceiling above it. I don't know why they put them in there, but they do. And then all this trim and stuff around the fireplace and around the windows, and you have a 20-foot ceiling, but the shortest part of the ceilings over the fireplace. So it was very limiting on anything she might want to put over that fireplace. She did not want to put the TV over the fireplace. We didn't want to focus on a TV in this room as you walked in the front door. So front door, I'm standing in the entryway. See if I can get another picture up here. I'm not very good at this. I'm sorry. Sure. Okay, how do I go to the next one?
Can you swipe? I don't know your screen. Yeah.
I don't either. I usually participate in
That's okay.
Zooms, but I don't usually, and I thought I had, there we go. Okay. So this is what we ended up doing. So that doorway or that entryway that was arched, and then that little window that was arched. Over that little window, that was where her sink was.
Is that the same couch too? So you open up that whole wall?
No, this is a different couch. This is
Wait.
all new furnishings. We did everything from the floor to the ceiling. So this is the same space. She initially called me to help her with paint colors. And what we ended up doing before we even picked paint colors, because you remember the previous picture, everything was yellow. What we had to do first is change all the light bulbs. And we've talked about this before. If your light bulbs cast yellow, you're never going to get your paint color right. So we went with daylight, and you can do soft daylight light bulbs. And some of the bulbs you can get now, you have options for settings. So I like a bright, clean daylight look. So we first did that. We painted the whole house with Sherwin-Williams paint, and the color was called Modern Gray. And then we started tearing everything out. We tore out all her cabinetry. We tore out the walls. We opened up that space. We got rid of all the furniture, and we did this instead. And
by the way, I love the dark windows with the white molding. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so this is not exactly the same
this is
view.
Beautiful. What a
that
living.
is the,
oh my goodness.
That is the same fireplace.
Wow. That is the same fireplace. Come on.
It is. So
I'm
we
gonna take a picture
we
of that.
eliminated all of the trim. We took everything off the fireplace, the mantle. We did leave the hearth, and I had my guys tile the hearth. And we took all the trim off of the tops of the windows. You can't see it, but those curtains, which are custom, would have never laid flat because there was so much junk
Bulky,
up the windows. We did leave the crown molding, and we just open it up, and now you can see the height of the ceiling. I mean, it was so oppressive before. You couldn't even appreciate the 20-foot vault that she had in the ceiling. And then you can barely see off here to the right in this corner, this piece of wood furniture that was custom made for this client. And it's a 130-inch long floating cabinet. And she had an 80-inch TV that she did not want to mount on the wall, because when you have a TV that big and you mount it on the wall, you get a lot of vibration in a room. And she didn't want that. So she wanted to be able to sit the TV on it. So we did sit the TV to the left so you could see it from the sofa. And then on the right, we did 2 floating shelves with lights underneath. And you at night,
do you have a close-up of the shelves?
The lights. I don't. I wish I had one in here, but I did not put those in. Okay, so we replaced the carpet that she had in there. That is a custom sofa. And that is a Gabby coffee table, and the chairs came from a local store here that we had custom covered. And then the cabinetry was done by my cabinet guy, and they're all custom. And you can't see them both in this angle, unfortunately, but there's a pantry on the very end. Let's see, right? Whoa, 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 whoa. No, cheating. Go back.
Okay, hold on. I won't look.
Don't look.
But I want to. It's so pretty.
I know. Okay, here we go. So you can see on the left and the right of the center cabinetry, there are 2 long cabinets. Those are her pantries. Because she didn't have a place to put a walk-in pantry. And she has an additional storage under her stairs. So we didn't need anything deep and big. But when you open those doors, there are drawers that pull out. Underneath the cabinet, you can see that there are deep drawers, so she can put things that, her paper goods and breads and things like that can go in the drawers. And then the pantry on the right also has her microwave in it. You notice there's no microwave in here.
But just curious, but when you knocked down that wall, what was on that wall? Was like the refrigerator there, or
the sink? Space? It was a countertop with her sink. And then there was an island in the middle of the room that they had actually purchased and put in there temporarily. So they had one. You also notice that we fixed the tray ceiling so that there isn't that cove ceiling anymore. We filled that in. We put in 8-foot doors, those black doors on the right, and then 2 8-foot tall floor to ceiling windows in black. And the black mirrored what we did with the hearth on the fireplace.
Got it.
Right there. So it just, and the cabinets are pure white, also by Sherwin-Williams, and the backsplash is gorgeous. I wish I had just a close-up of the backsplash to show you, but it is quartzite. This is a client who didn't want anything less than quartzite, and that's what we got. And it is very rare. You don't see a lot of it. It's called London Sky, and it's also on her countertops.
Wow.
So countertops, and we took it all the way up the backsplash. We found the hardware, believe it or not, on Etsy, which is a great place to look for unusual things. Hardware, light fixtures, light lamps, those kinds of things. It's just a fun place to find unusual things that you're not going to find in your big box stores or pay a fortune for through, some of these other online sites. They're just fun things. The light fixtures are huge. You can see they're enormous. And I put 3 of them up there because I just liked the boldness of them. And yet they're clear glass, so they don't block the view. They're not in her face. And then the bar stools are also custom bar stools. We got those out of Canada. So anyway, so this is what we ended up doing with that space that you saw earlier.
Wow.
This was the home office in this house. And all the patches are where the previous owner had artwork hanging on the wall. They were artwork crazy. And there were patches everywhere. And then you see these 2 French doors, and the French door to the left behind it, which was in the corner of the room, was where the built-in desk was. So, and to the right are bookshelves and a big window that faced out to the front of the house. So you've seen the after. This is what we did with that space.
Wow.
So that's a fireplace surround that we had built specifically for that. We pulled the same tile from the living room and did the surround for the fireplace here. Again, the floors were refinished throughout the entire house. We added some plants, some live plants. The client picked this piece of art, which I happened to love because it's kind of quirky. She found it online and she was afraid I wouldn't like it. And I said, no, I think it's perfect for this room, because you can see this room has a lot of, colors that are kind of off, and the whole room is painted in urbane bronze. The walls, the trim, the ceilings were all the same color. So it was dark and moody, and yet the furnishings kind of bring it back to life. We also added this entire wall on the left of bookshelves and a bar. So she's got all of her liquor and her glassware in here, so she can entertain in here and then carry out into the living room. On the right, it's kind of hard to see it, but there is a chaise, kind of a rust color. And this was actually, of all the rooms we did in her house, this was her favorite room. And she used to do a lot of Zoom meetings. She's an educator, and people wanted to know if it was a backdrop, because they couldn't believe that this was like a real room. So this was a fun project. And, in all honesty, I have been working with this client since 2021. So we have done the entire downstairs of her house.
Amazing.
This is another client. Now, this is a totally different look. This is a client's befores. This is a house that previous house was built in 2004. So relatively new-ish subdivision, big 2-story house. This house was built in the 70s, and it was a ranch style home. We still to this day haven't quite figured out why those bars were there, those cedar posts.
Those aren't like the structural beams, no?
Yeah, but they're non-structural. They were like, why did somebody put those there? And this woman has lived in this house for 20 years with her family. And what she wanted to do in this situation is add a garage, a 2-car garage beyond this wall here. And she wanted to take her garage and turn it into a family room. She had kids were getting bigger, and this was their only living space, and do something different with her kitchen, which is behind this wall right here.
Wow.
So, and she hated the slider, and they had a beautiful backyard. They had some land, really pretty deck that they had done, but they had done nothing with the interior of the main parts of the house. So what we did is we took this kitchen. This was a previous kitchen.
Okay. And
you can see it's very tight, and there was only one light fixture in the entire kitchen, which was in the middle of it. So if you're standing at the stove, your back is, casting a shadow on your stove, on your sink, on your countertop. And she had 2 kids, preteens.
Wow.
So this was a tight fit for them. And then one window, which she had added, it was one of those, plant windows, which we did salvage and put someplace else. But anyway, this is what we did. This is the after.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
So we took out that big wall. We removed those non-essential posts. These are white oak rift sawn custom cabinets. The same guy that did the previous cabinets did these as well. And she's got Zalige tile on the wall, and she was dead set on getting that navy blue refrigerator. She liked the blue. So we
Oh, I
incorporated
can't
the
even tell
blue.
it's navy blue. Okay.
It's navy blue. We lost the slider. As you can see, we put in a door here, and we put 2 windows on either side of the stove. By removing that one window, we were able to move the stove where the previous window was, put the sink in the island. She had this vintage table and chairs that she wanted to keep, so we worked those in, and she wanted brick floors. So we tore out what was there before, which I believe was like a linoleum, and put in the brick floors. The ceiling, which is hard to tell in the pictures because of the lighting, we had to put shiplap up on the ceilings because she had popcorn ceilings, but they had painted them. And once you paint a popcorn ceiling, it's really hard to scrape it off. You actually have to sand it off. And that is a massive mess. So we went ahead and shiplapped, which was appropriate for the style of this house, the entire ceiling, and put the beams, left the beams back up where they were. So this is what we did with that house. And here's another view.
Wow.
And then
Beautiful.
that big yellow wall that I said she wanted to connect her new garage to, we built a breezeway. And this little area right here is where you can just sit, have a cup of coffee, walk through it from the garage, which you can barely see the door on, but that the garage is now beyond that space. We painted the whole wall the navy blue to incorporate her navy blue refrigerator.
Oh, wow.
And to the left, opposite this little bench right here, there's a slider, and we created a patio for her where she can sit. They like to be outside in the front. It's one of those neighborhoods where people are outside in the front. Welcome to
Wow.
Arkansas, right? You see that a lot, where
Beautiful.
people live on their front porches. So we created a bigger, better space for her with that. But you can see this gorgeous Zalige tile and the fun light fixtures. She picked the bar stools because she's got children, and she didn't want anything that was fabric. And she wanted bar stools that swiveled and that had a back. So to do something that was functional for her, we went with the this leatherette fabric, and she loved them. She was happy with them. I would have probably, in all honesty, put something a little lighter, but she loved these. And again, this is a point where when you're working as a designer, if it still works and it's functional for the client, then it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not my house. This is where she wants to live, and she loved it. She's very handy. She refinished that table and chairs. It
God
was
bless her.
all oak, like old oak furniture. And I think she did a great job on that as well. And then over here on this wall right here, this is a beverage. It's a bar. It's a dry bar. And it's got a beverage fridge in it, and the lights, added into the cabinetry. And then her shelving where she could put her, extra wine bottles and wine glasses and things like that. So this was
beautiful. This is
was a fun
amazing to see the
project.
before and afters, Marla. Really. Wow, what an impact.
Yeah, so you can see, and there we go. So I don't want to share this anymore. Stop sharing. There we are.
Beautiful.
So you can see that it doesn't happen in an hour like it does on TV. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of vision. It takes a lot of trust on the part of the client
Okay.
to understand the vision. And when you're living in the middle of people traipsing through your house, and tarps up to keep the dust out of your bedroom when they're working in your kitchen or your dining room, and living with a mess for 4 months, 6 months, a year, sometimes more than a year.
Wow.
You have to have a lot of faith in each other. There's a relationship that you build with your clients, and your clients build with you. And I'm very protective of my clients. I want to make sure that they are living comfortably. And a lot of people, we recommend just move out.
Yeah.
If you can afford to move into an Airbnb, highly recommended. Some people, they have, a place where they can wash their dishes or set up in a dining room, maybe, have a hot plate in their microwave and, and their food is everywhere and you're washing dishes in the bathroom sink, or if you have a laundry room, you have a sink in your laundry room, you're living in a mess.
Yeah.
And so you have to know that at some point the mess will be over. And some points the job will look awful and you go, oh my gosh, what have I done? Have I made a mistake? Is this going to look okay? Because things, if you've ever lived through one, things come in bits and pieces. The cabinets go in, but maybe the glass isn't in yet.
Wow.
The countertops are the last thing to go in. The tile is the last thing to go in. So you've got plywood over your cabinets. You've got plywood on walls, or maybe just drywall. And it's tape and it's mess and there's stuff everywhere. And that's why you have to understand, from my perspective as a designer, you have to understand and handhold a little bit, maybe be a little bit of a therapist for people.
Absolutely.
And as a consumer, you need to understand that you're going to be living in a mess.
Got it. Well, thank you so much. Marla Roberds, our interior designer, our amazing everything girl, realtor. How do we reach out to you? Unfortunately, we're out of time.
Oh, that was fast.
Yeah, I know we got a little of a late start getting you on the camera, but we're good. KissingTreeProperties.com, is that right?
That is correct.
And
yes.
Are we back on again next week?
Is next week, I think, is September the 5th, and I actually have a closing that I can't miss. So I'm going to be on the following week. Yeah,
perfect.
I think it's the following week.
I can't wait to see more of your work. I love this. Thank you so much.
I'll see if I can put something else together for you then.
That'd be great. Thank you so much. Pleasure to see you. Thank you for being here, and enjoy your Labor Day weekend, sweetheart.
Oh, you too. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.